Welcome back to Between Appointments.
Episode 5. Can you believe it? We're halfway to 10. I think that's pretty cool.
Yes.
So today's podcast is going to be on generational differences.
What do you think the difference is between the older generation and the younger generation? The defining difference.
I think the older generation had a little more respect than the
Okay.
younger generation for elders and for random strangers opening the doors, saying yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. I think we've lost that sense of respect in the new generation.
Okay.
And I think the older generation is less open minded than the new generation. I think they're very set in their ways. Like, this is
Yeah.
how I was raised,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, I do. I do think that.
What would you think the biggest difference between the two are?
Definitely the mindsets. I feel like they definitely are set in their ways more. It definitely depends on which generation you're talking about because I feel like the generation, like the boomers, like we talked about last time, they're very set in their ways. And
Mhm.
because they experience so much differences in their day and age, they are very strict on it. Like, even without meaning
Yeah,
to
they're
be,
not they're
they're
not willing to
biased.
budge. Yeah, they're biased, they're set in their ways, it's
And
my way or the highway, they're not gonna budge.
like, even with the whole, like, thing with races, like,
Yeah.
they don't even realize it when they are prejudiced because it's so ingrained in
Oh my
them.
gosh, for
You
sure.
know what I
And then
mean?
you, like, look at them crooked and you're like, what did you
That's
just
not
say?"
okay now.
Like, you're like, that did not just come out of your mouth. You gotta be kidding me right now."
Yeah, but
Yeah.
and they don't even think of it because they've already grown so much as a generation that and then that was so set and, like, instilled in them that they're like they don't even think twice about it now.
Yeah. And they're not open to change. They're not
Yeah,
open-minded to change.
yeah.
What or why do you think the older generation thinks we're so soft?
Because I feel a big thing I feel like is parenting is they see our parenting as too soft because they feel like they were strict with us. They feel like they saw things as nothing happened as much as it did back in the day, which is a whole other thing.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, like, so much they think that because there's media now, that there used to not be anything happening back in the day when in reality it just wasn't documented as
Yeah,
much or
like the
broadcasted in
weird
media.
people or the murderers
Yeah,
or
pedophiles,
pedophiles or yeah.
kidnappers, traffickers, all that. They just
Yeah.
didn't see it as much. So they think that like, "Oh god, they're just so soft." No, we're just aware now, and I feel like that's a big one, but like they just and we're a lot of parents are very weird about or a good amount are very weird about what their children eat now. And like I had a conversation when I was working and it was with 2 different generation moms. It was the grandma or the great grandmother and the grandmom or whatever it was, and she said, "I just don't understand why my granddaughter won't let me see my grandkid as much." And then the other mom was like, "Well, you don't really, like, follow what the mom wants guidelines for food."
Yeah.
She's like, "She doesn't want you feeding the kid, like, all this
Ramen and
Proc
McDonald's
processed
and yeah,
food. She doesn't want there was
more
a
whole
thing about
foods, like
hot dogs. She's like, "There's all these things in hot dogs." She didn't want her the kid eating hot dogs or don't obey what the mom puts down.
but I think that comes with the education we have in the
Yes.
food system and our health system. Like, we are learning about new things all day long, whereas back then, like, you didn't have that information so accessible where you could just look up, "Hey," it's like that app that scans the different foods and it tells
Yeah.
you a 1 out of 10, 10
Well,
being what the best, 1 being the worst.
there's also so many more chemicals now
Oh,
in our
yeah,
food
there's no
than there was back then.
and unfortunately, there's no getting around that.
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
they're used to but they were the generation, I mean, at least the generation that's still alive, that's older than us, was the generation that was starting the TV dinners and the Salisbury steaks and the
Right.
microwavable meals, and, like, they were the transition period into the quick meals that feed a big
They
family.
don't always think about that.
No,
Mhm.
like, they did. They started the whole
Yeah.
TV dinner
I didn't
trend.
even think about that, yeah. Like, when you watch Matilda, they're having TV dinners.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Oh my god, why are you" like, again, "Why are you feeding your kids"
All that processed food.
Yeah, exactly, that would be the difference in generations, like, we're looking about like, "Oh, I wouldn't feed my family Salisbury steak meals every single day,"
Yeah,
you
right.
know? And I think again, I think TV dinners are great, I think that is something good that came from, like, the older generation and just the transition
Yeah,
of technology in a sense,
yeah,
but yeah, I think that's crazy.
yeah.
What do you think would get our parents judged today or the older generation judged today that wouldn't back then?
I definitely think a big one would be how we were disciplined.
Okay.
Mm. I
No whips
mean
and chains or
I
wooden spoons.
mean, yeah, I mean, I know that with certain schoolings there was the what do you call it? The
The
paddle
ruler.
or the ruller,
Yeah.
the
Ruler on the
paddle.
hand, like, knock it off.
I always heard about it when I was younger, but I didn't know if that was just a myth or something with the paddle or Catholic schools may I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't quote
Private schools, I'm
was
sure.
it? I don't
Yeah, I
know.
think it was private schools.
Or dad with the belt or just things like that, or
Yeah.
granddad or whoever it was, whoever in your family was the one that was the disciplinarian with the belt or what was it? There was something where you'd like put sand or rice on your knees and you'd sit on it. It's in movies.
What? I'll have to
Yeah.
look that up. That's sand
I
on
used
their
to see
knees.
something like that and it would hurt because they would make them kneel on it or something. I don't know what generation that was, but I definitely seen it before in
Yeah.
movies. I mean, that could be just exaggerated. I don't know.
How were you disciplined?
How was I
'Cause I
disciplined?
I 'cause I feel like the older generation was disciplined different than us, and I know from seeing the new like, the people younger than us
I
get disciplined way
definitely
differently.
I was disciplined. It was a definitely more argumentative.
It wasn't actually physical, like, with the belt or the wooden paddle or the spatula or
I wouldn't say my mom really liked physical discipline as much, but I know that a lot of kids had to deal with physical discipline. I mean, I'm not gonna say I have never gotten smacked because I
oh, I got smacked all the time.
yeah.
It was my mouth. I would run my mouth. My mom wouldn't
I
like
mean, I
what
would
came
hear my
out of
friends
it,
always talking
and
about
get
getting smacked or
backhanded.
beaten and stuff like that, belts and all kinds of stuff like that. So yeah, I would say that was definitely a big thing with discipline. Or are you afraid to smack your kid? I'm like, I personally don't want to resort to that.
Or it's just teaching your kid I think it's teaching your kid that violence is the answer. Violence is going to I guess thinking about like how my mom handled me, my mom probably thought, well, if I hit her, she'll stop running her mouth. When in essence, didn't I kind of got used to getting hit because I was running my mouth and I would just continue to
Or
run my mouth on top of it.
or it was be seen and not heard, or you don't talk back to your
You
elders.
don't question anything they
You don't
say.
question
You agree
anything.
with what's going on when
Yeah.
I mean
It's
that
like
can
a brainless soldier, and I hated that.
100% a brainless soldier.
You couldn't talk back, you couldn't say anything, you couldn't question anything.
Yeah. What's the word?
Relationships?
Respect?
Yeah, do you think the expectations
I personally don't think that we expect too much or ask too much from these people. I think we might actually require less.
Okay.
I think it might come into the play that we require more to some people due to the social media digital world that comes with it. Like,
Yeah.
don't like that girl's picture and you got to post me or you got to,
Mhm.
you can't be following them or something like that. I think that expectation
Yeah.
is really heavy. But I think the expectation of just chivalry and opening the door and helping an elderly woman put their stuff in the car or
And I feel like we have definitely lost that a lot.
yeah, the chivalry is dead. Chivalry's definitely dead, and
I mean, I still see it a little bit now, but it's just definitely not what it used to be. I think that also goes into with technology and being like with brain rot and stuff. Like we
yeah.
lost a lot of that. We lost respect for maybe some of them definitely lost respect for their parents
I think respect for parents though
or
comes
elder, whatever you want to put it
I
as.
think respect for elders, parents, whatever. I think that comes with the way that you were raised. Like I
I
was
agree.
scared of my mom. Like would not I would not do half the things and say half the things that I've seen these kids out in public do with their parents, and the parent just let it
Yeah.
slide. Like my mom would have been like, "You want to go to the bathroom with the grind in it? Like we're going
Oh,
now." Like
damn.
I'm okay. And then it got so bad again because this is just how I am. But it got so bad that I would like get excited to go to the bathroom. I'd want because I spent a lot of my
Because it
childhood getting
was,
whipped in the bathroom. I would want to
damn.
I would want to like go visit bathrooms and see what the bathrooms looked like.
Oh my. Damn.
Yeah.
Be like, do they got a better look in here?
Seriously though, there was one time that we were out at a restaurant and I was teenage years and I went into I think it was like the Olive Garden or something. And I
Okay.
went to the bathroom and they just had renovated it and it
Yeah.
looked very Tuscan. It looked very Italian and just right up my style.
Okay.
And I came out and I came to the table, I was like, "That bathroom looked really nice." And my uncle was like, "You really don't have anything better to do than talk about bathrooms and stare at bathrooms?" Again, me being me, I looked at him and I was like, "You don't have anything better to do than be a dick?" And the whole
Damn.
table got
Yeah.
into a frenzy because you need to teach your daughter how to respect people, and it was like, I had really good manners. I still have really good manners, but also I kn I was growing up in a newer generation where it
Yeah.
was, like, more acceptable to be like, "Okay, you're not gonna talk to me like that. I'm not." We both give each other respect.
I definitely it's definitely with the middle, like, whatever our parents' generation would be, because I definitely had a lot of respect for my grandfather. I have a lot of respect for my
Yeah,
grandfather.
still to the day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, he definitely disciplined me, but he was always there for me. And like with my mom was always there for me, like my grandfather. My mom definitely disciplined more as like she didn't use she, it was more with her words and the way she used her words.
Yeah.
With my stepdad, it was definitely more not so great, but with my
Yeah.
mom, she made you feel a lot.
Yeah, her
She
words cut deep.
If I didn't pass something, if I didn't like with graduation, I needed to graduate because I could not handle losing like something with my mom. I could not handle disappointing my mom.
And it's
I
funny that graduation gets brought up.
Oh yeah, it was so heavy. I still have dreams to this day about
How was
disappointment.
how was your graduation day?
How was it?
Yeah, how was your graduation day?
I think it was great. I got to flip off my one of my teachers.
Oh my gosh, I
That was the highlight. I was like, "You know what? You were a."
you were a big pain in my butt.
Yeah, and I literally looked at her and I was like, flipped her the bird. I was like, "Never gonna see you again."
I graduation day was the worst, and it wasn't necessarily about disappointing. I never felt that I was disappointing my family because I knew that I had my ducks in a line, but my mom always thought, she's gonna turn out like this person or that person," and I
So
didn't.
you were more like my husband, which I was more like, I need my mom. My mom put so much into me. Like I need to make
Yeah,
her
no, I
proud.
didn't I didn't feel that pressure. My mom wanted me to get straight A's all the time. I wasn't rebellious, but it was something like, "Well, if I don't get straight A's, that's okay for me." Like,
Mhm.
if I'm okay with not getting straight A's, you should be okay with me not getting straight A's.
Right.
And I understand not getting failing grades and stuff like that, and I think
C
that's
plus.
yeah, seriously, like,
That's what mine was until I
it
graduated.
gets you graduated.
Yeah.
You graduate to C,
I graduated with A's and B's, but that was due to a whole other
and I'm
reason.
not saying that, you should shoot for low, like, standard, you should shoot for
Yeah.
high standards and not just mediocrity, but, yeah, my graduation day, she made it the worst, she was like, "You're not gonna be successful, I didn't even think you were gonna graduate." I was like, "Hey, I have these tickets, are you gonna come pick them up?" Because I wasn't living at home at the time,
Mm.
and she was like, "I didn't even know you were graduating." "What?" And I'm like, Okay, like, you shouldn't even come at that point." But, yeah, funny, I had something similar happen to a teacher who actually failed me junior year, and she was sitting at my row. I was standing there with my diploma.
That's what my teacher did.
"You at your row?"
No, I had a teacher, she's like, "Oh, I'm surprised to see you here," is literally what she said to me,
And
and
you're
I
like
was
you're
like,
like, "What?"
I was so that's why I flipped her off,
Yeah,
'cause
flip
I
the
strongly despised her.
and she failed me, and I was so angry, and I was
Mhm.
sitting there standing and taking a picture with my diploma, and she goes, "Caitlin, you need to sit down." I said, "What are you gonna do, not graduate me?" And I continue to stand up, like,
Right, right.
goodbye. But I think just grades in different generations, I think every generation has wanted their children to strive with grades. I think when it comes to school, I mean, can you relate with your kids? Like, you want them to do
Oh,
well.
yeah, fully want them to do very well. I want to make the effort because it's not because of me per se. I mean, I always have dreams about, oh, I didn't turn something, which is crazy. I still have these now, but not turning something in, not getting good grades. But I feel bad. No, I'm serious.
Girl, that is a thought of the long, long
I don't think
past.
about that, but it was definitely something I still have nightmares about. Be like, oh God, I didn't turn something in. But it was because I wanted to pass school so bad because
Yeah.
of all that. But no, I think it had a lot to do with my husband because I just feel like so bad that he had to go through what he went through, that he would always tell me that he just had nobody to help him with his homework.
Oh my god, I don't know if his parents did the same, but my mom was so bad during homework time.
No, they wouldn't even
She would
help him.
she would scream at me. She'd be like, "How do you not know what y equals mx plus b on the square root
It's
of
crazy.
99,000?" And I'm like, "I don't know, I'm sorry." She's like, "Figure it out. I'm sorry."
And we try to do so much for our kids, especially the oldest one now.
Uh-huh.
We like the Scholastic Book Fair. We always try to make sure he's got a like maybe like 20 bucks we'll put into the thing just so he can get a book.
Yeah.
Even like we're broke. We don't have money like anything. But like you know that feeling. Like you
I
don't want to be
love
the
the
last one picked. You want to have make sure you're at least able to contribute, you're able to do something. You got that prize. That makes a kid feel so good.
yeah. And
And,
I
we wanna make sure he has that feeling, like, mom and dad will always be there for
Yeah.
me, like
Yep.
that.
Yep. And I think that's what is it? The Scholastic Book Fair.
Yeah, that was
I
a big thing for
loved the
us.
book fair, but that shows you the difference in our generation versus your children's generation.
Yeah.
We had we had a whole like day at the book fair and there were stickers and different pens and markers and
Yeah, he
books.
gets so excited about it too.
Yeah, like it hasn't it changed nowadays? Like they don't have it as big and grand as we did.
I don't know, I did that. I have no idea, I don't I look at the catalogs a little bit. They have, like, pens and stuff like that, and I've never been to one now.
Yeah. What do you think we lost when everything went digital? Because I think that I mean, they don't really do book fairs, I feel like, anymore so much because you have a Kindle or you have the laptop or, like so what do you think we lost when we went digital?
From when I was in school at least, I can't relate to for my kids because I don't see anything, I don't go there, but I feel like when we went more digital as it progressed, it's like we had computer lab and we did this and we did that in
Typing
school.
class with the
Yeah,
plastic
we
thing
had
over
stuff
top to
like
hide the
that, but we didn't
keys.
have it to the extent that they have now. Like they have virtual learning now, which I'm not crapping on. It's great for snow days. Sucks for the kids that have snow days and
Yeah,
they can't
right?
actually access.
Had an actual snow day.
But, like, I feel like it's changed a lot of, like, connections and communications and causing you not to think as much or think about things that you don't need to think about.
Well, that's I agree, and that's funny that you brought up snow days because that's something I think positive of the older generation. Like the
Yeah,
older generation, when we had a snow day, they let us play outside, and now I
me
feel like
too.
the newer generation of parents can't necessarily be that lenient because of the school systems. Because they're pushing the kids to work, 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 and be these worker
Yeah,
bees at such a young age.
yeah.
Whereas back in our like
I
beginning
do
of
feel bad
generation,
because
it wasn't like that.
I feel like even with myself, like I love my son's school. Like there's a great school system and everything, but it does stress me out because like when snow days come and like I see the kids outside wanting to play and my son wants to play and I'm just like, well, if you finish your schoolwork,
Okay.
we then you can go out in the
Yeah.
snow and like he's stressed out and like
He's like, "I just wanna snow, like, it's so
he's a
exciting,
little
there's white
kitty.
snow out there."
Yeah, he's like, "I wanna go do stuff," and I'm like, "I you got 8 hours before, like, the end of this point, and you gotta get this stuff done," and I feel bad about that because I mean, they'll like, "Here, you can bring your tablet or your iPad home, and you'll, like, work on that and stuff, and it'll help you with your lesson," but I just feel bad because they can't really do that other stuff that we got to do.
Which leads me into the next question of, do you think kids are growing up too fast because of the digital world?
Maybe growing up or not I mean, I don't feel like
Growing up, maturing, like
maturing, I would say they're not getting to be the kid experience that we had and our parents had growing up, but I wouldn't say, like I don't know if it is helping them mature at all. I don't think it's giving them that extra social aspect.
I
I
don't
don't
think it's
know.
helping them mature, but I do think that the digital world has, sped up the growth in our children, just based like the snow day. They can't have the snow fun and
More
the excitement
structure. They
yeah,
have
they're
to have
more
that
sh yeah, and, like, that's
okay,
them
yeah, that makes
growing up
sense.
faster
Yeah.
because they have more structure, and I'm not saying structure's bad because we all know I love structure, but there's
Kids
some
need to be
point yeah,
kids.
kids need to be kids. They need to have the
Yeah.
playgrounds, they need to have the monkey bar your kid the other day, we went to the park and he was like, "What are these? Like, how do I work these?" I'm like, "What? Like,
Oh, yeah.
you monkey bars, they're monkey bars."
I mean, to be fair, we don't actually use technology like that. We don't have an iPad. He doesn't use the computer. He doesn't watch a whole lot of
Yeah, no,
TV.
your kids don't, but, like
I will never, unless like we find out we got to go make an 8-hour trip somewhere. I'm not getting one.
but that goes like I was saying, like
But there
Just
are
him
people
not
that do
knowing
that.
like, him not knowing what monkey's bars are, like, you talk to a kid our generation, and there would be no, like, "I
Now
don't know,"
see, I don't know that I don't he's so young. I don't know that he actually doesn't know what it is, 'cause
or how to use them.
he sees it all the time at the playground.
Okay.
So I don't know how maybe that's just his response as
Do
like
you
a kid.
do you think at the playground they're more digital on the playground nowadays than we used to be? Like, are they allowed their tablets outside? Do they
No,
have
I don't
things
think
like
so,
that
no.
outside, or
No,
do
I
they
don't
still
think
play, like,
so.
Foursquare and
No, I see them when I'm driving by, I can see them.
Okay.
They're
And
outside.
they're playing around on the
Yeah.
playground?
My kid doesn't, know how to like, it took him a while to learn how to use a tablet correctly.
Yeah, that's pretty
And
cool.
the teacher had a actual like, they did lessons on how to use it properly too. Like, they're not like, she would say, "Hey, they're not ready to use that device yet." I'll be like, "Oh, okay. That's fine. I get that. That makes sense. He doesn't even have one, so why would he know?"
Yeah. Does it bother you that the older generation perceives us as having no work ethic?
Does it bother me?
Yeah. Do you
Yes.
believe that we have no work ethic? Do you think we have a work ethic? Do you think there's a reason our work
I
ethic has changed?
So, I'm in between. I think that I know you perceive it a certain way. I take offense to it personally because I know I have a work ethic, a very good work ethic, and I know you do. But I know that, like, I'll see other people, like young people, like I'll even have my husband complaining about some like 20 something year old. I see stuff with my siblings, my younger siblings, and I'm just like, I was babysitting, I was nannying, I was working two jobs at once, and I don't understand any of this.
Yeah. I think lazy people, no matter what generation you're in, are going to be lazy. They're going to be people you don't want to
Yeah,
work
I
with.
like that.
They're, like
I do. I like that. I
th-
agree with that one.
there's going to be people who just drag their feet
Yeah.
and weigh you down no matter what job you go to, no matter what generation you go to, no matter what. I think, however, the new generation has kind of put a halt at the 9 to 5s, the typical 9 to 5s, working and slaving your life away when you could for 5 hours a day and make $3,000 a day. Like, why work the 9 to 5 7 days a week if you can work 4 days a week, 2 hours a day?
I
Or
th
less, do 3 hours a week, I mean, 3 days a week and 8 hours a day, whatever
yeah.
it is.
Just more and more yes, technology definitely doesn't help with that,
Because everybody's just sitting there on their phones and,
but I
like
feel like it's just those people that got worse with it. There was already those people that were there, those mindsets, it just progressively got worse. It didn't help it.
or the people that were lazy back in the older generation raised the kids to not have a good work ethic because everything falls back onto parenting at the end of the day.
Oh,
Like,
for
how you go about the world and how you face the world is
it's
really
all the
how you were
kids.
raised.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely is.
Yeah. Well, I definitely believe that. Do you think that the previous generations actually had it easier financially?
I don't know. I mean, I hear about it from time to time. I think inflation definitely doesn't help us now, but I see a lot of things on social media where they're comparing it and I believe it, but then I didn't experience it, so I don't know. I know it's a struggle for us, but I know my grandfather struggled a lot.
I can remember going into my great grandmother's house when she passed away. I didn't go into her house when she passed away, but I've been into her house
Yeah.
previously prior to her passing. You could tell she was hiding things for safety. Like, when my grandmother went to go clean out my great grandmother's house, she was like, "There was money in the walls, there was money in his shoes, there was money in the closet." Like,
Yeah.
they were stashing money because she did live the Great Depression. Like, they they
Oh, yeah, different.
plummeted.
Okay.
Yeah, like, and I think, yes, there's inflation nowadays, however, there's minimum wages
Yeah, I
sitting
don't
at
feel
a
like it's
common
easy.
$15 an hour than at what it was during the Great
I just
Depression.
feel like it's not a you can't as much compare it because you didn't experience it with them. I feel like there are people that are there and they're set in their ways, and they feel like they really experienced something, but and then you did. We experienced poverty on,
A different level.
but we don't know. We never went through it. We didn't grow up the same way they did, so we don't know. I feel like we both are experiencing it just in just in different ways.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Um. Did the older generation ignore mental health or just handled it different?
It's a good question. I love mental health questions, especially when it comes to the older generation,
Yeah.
because I feel like at times the older generation mocks us or makes fun of us because we
Definitely.
have feelings and we
We're
talk
too
about our feelings. Yeah,
soft.
like, we're too soft, or why are you talking about anxiety or depression? Like, that's something that's what is it? Hush hush stuff. Like, we talk about that
Very
behind
taboo,
taboo,
yeah,
yes,
mental health is taboo
in the older
or
generation.
made up. Some people some older generation think it's made up.
I asked my mom to go
I
to
didn't know
ther
that.
yeah, I asked my mom to go to therapy, and she's like, "I'm not taking you to a shrink." But then if our kids came to us, not that I have kids, but if our kids came to us and was like, "Hey, I think I
Yeah.
need to go see a therapist," we'd be, like, on the phone the next day finding the next therapist for our kids. I think the mental health kinda was just quieted. I think especially for women.
Yeah.
I think there were a lot of depressed women, like, I'd say maybe 40s, like, who were just staying at home, being the homemakers, like,
Yeah.
didn't really have that social aspect of talking to their friends or getting out to go to work or stuff like that. I think people who were homemakers definitely suffered with health, but it just wasn't talked about like how we're talking about it
Yeah.
on a social platform.
Yeah. I think that that was definitely a huge thing that never was talked about, and I feel like when we do now, they're just like, "This is weird." It's there are certain people within my mom's generation too that'll be like, "Ooh, we're ladies, we don't know," and
I
I'm just like, "I'm okay. I grew up a little differently than you do." My mom let us talk about our feelings. It's
yeah.
okay to talk about your feelings
Like,
now.
and or I'm allowed to cry, like, they'd be like, "Don't cry, keep a straight face, don't cry." And I'm like, especially with guys, like, I feel like the men back in the older generations were very shunned from expressing their
Oh,
feelings.
for sure. Yeah. Even like my husband, it's still set to him that like you can't men don't cry or and he does cry, but it's just like men are supposed to be like he'll be like, I'm here to be the protector, I'm here to
Mhm,
make
the
the money.
provider.
Yeah, the provider. I need to do my due diligence and my duties and all this stuff. And I'm just like, I'm here with you too. It's okay. You can lean on me too.
So, do you think that the older generation stayed together because their relationship was stronger or because they had fewer options?
It's an interesting take. In my opinion, from what I've seen, I believe most of them stayed home anyway. Some of them did with their grandparents' generation, so most of them stayed home. So they kind of relied on it as well, marriage was a sanctity, right? Everyone looked at marriage as a sanctity.
What's a sanctity?
All right, now I gotta use a different word. Everyone looked at marriage as like this holy union. And you, even if you hated somebody or strongly disliked them, you fought with your partner, like, we're in this together. We need to get through this, whether you're being an abusive asshole and I'm being like whatever, either way, which I don't agree with abuse no matter what, but I feel like they look the other way a lot more.
100% they look the other way.
And then
And God forbid, like, the male's name gets thrown through the dirt.
As the next generation got I had a higher divorce rate 20 years later or 10 years later because they were escaping the abuse a
Mhm,
lot quicker.
mhm.
Within women, they didn't have a lot to lean on because they didn't have their own money. They didn't have anything their own. Everything was the husband's.
Yeah, it was the husband's house, the
But
husband's
I
card, the husband was putting groceries on the table or food on the table, he was buying the diapers, but, it was the husband's money.
So, I see these videos. I can't remember what the guy's name is, but they have a radio, a podcast or something, and they talk about conversations about marriage and money and stuff. And they talk about men, like a woman will call and be like, my husband, I don't get enough of my allowance, they'll say. Yeah.
I got an allowance.
They don't get enough of allowance and this and that, and my husband, like, we have a set income and he makes a ton of money, but I can't get a whole lot. But that's how I feel like it was back then more. I feel like we looked at it differently. We look at that differently now.
And
But that's what I feel like it would in my opinion. I feel like that's what it would be now. You're like, that asshole, he's not giving me my allowance. And like that's messed up.
it's crazy, yeah, I think it's absolutely
And
crazy that
cheating
announced,
and all
but
that stuff.
do you know how, like, sought out that is with people in our generation? Like, the pick-me girls and the sugar daddy girls and the girls who
They wanna
go
be
after these
pampered.
older men to just have them buy something, and then they're okay with being a stay-at-home because they don't want to work, and because I mean, I don't wanna work, but I, like,
I can't rely. like
No,
that.
I can't rely on a man
No, it makes me
to
nervous.
provide for
Not
me,
because I
or
so
100% for me. I'd love to still be provided for.
it just makes me too nervous. I wanna have my own financial stability. I want to know that it's just I grew up, I need to work. I wanna have my own money.
Yeah, my own money.
Nothing against my husband, like, he doesn't make me feel any type of way with that, but, like, I need to have my own thing,
Yeah,
and that
100%.
wasn't a thing back then as much. You didn't
No,
have your own identity,
no.
really. Your identity was mom and stay at home.
Yeah, and you had to make sure that there was enough money on the card if you were to go out during the day, which a lot of families didn't have 2 cars. It was the husband taking the car, so the woman was stuck at home, or they only could go around the block to walk. But you would, like, be at the grocery stores and be like, "Man, I hope there's enough allowance on this card to buy groceries."
And that was their comfortability, that's why they didn't
Yeah,
question anything, like,
yep.
I've heard stories where they were saying, yeah, that their husband would cheat on them and was doing all this dirty stuff and wasn't a good guy, he was a real jerk, and I was like, "Why didn't she leave him?" And they'd be like, "'Cause that's what she was
Her norm.
that was her normal." She's like, "Well, he comes home and he brings home money and he brings us food home
He
every
falls
night."
asleep in the bed with me at night at
Like,
the
yeah,
end of the day.
yeah, and I'm like, "Damn, that's messed up," and, like, would she do that today? Probably
Mhm.
not.
And that's a huge generational difference,
Yeah,
is nowadays that would not fly, like.
and I feel like now in that generation, you are a lot quicker to get divorced, you are a lot quicker to press the button.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I feel like sometimes there are things you gotta work through, but then with the technology, it makes things very hard because there's so much more now, like, there's porn.
There's OnlyFans,
There's just too much
Tinder, and
lusting,
Bumble,
there's too
and
much easy
Instagram.
access, and that's where another part of technology, it ruins marriages because men I'll say some, don't know how to control themselves.
A lot
It's
of
just too
men.
easy for them, and it's just at their fingertips. All they do is that, and
All I
some of
have to
them
do is do a Google search, and this naked woman sitting right in front of me when my woman won't, like, give me
and
what
I
I need.
feel like when you have people on their phones constantly looking through social media and I feel like it's stalking, but some people are like, whatever. Like, it's whatever to me. Like, my sisters are like, what? I don't care. It's not stalking,
What
whatever.
do you mean by that?
Like, constantly looking up all these details about people, like the people that could be freaking FBI agents,
But I don't think that, like,
the in depth looking.
or the fact that because
And you could,
everybody's FBI agents and technology is so advanced that you can literally there's no hiding anything.
but what I'm saying is that if that guy wants to find something about that one girl he saw, he
He
can,
can.
even if
He
he's
can.
married, and it's
Yep. Yep.
gross. But that's how you're so used to having so much easy access to people,
Instant gratification.
instant gratification. It's just it's too much.
It is.
And it's like you want to be lenient, you want to be flexible. You're like, I'm not gonna get mad at you for doing that, but then like don't go that far, please.
Yeah, and it's even I think
And
it's
it's just
crazy that we have that factor of, like, this is my do not go this far. Like, why is it because of social media and digital communication that we even have to put that boundary to
yeah.
say, "Don't go past this."
Yeah, this is my boundary,
Yeah,
don't cross it. I completely get that.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's something you really have to set because now you go on Instagram and you see all these like models and you see these other pages
Influencers.
like broadcasting to everybody. And I'm like, I don't want to see that every time I open Instagram. I really don't want to see some naked person every time I open it.
It's crazy the amount of, and obviously it has to be from my, shitty choice in men, but it's crazy the amount of people I've dated, and I'd say there's only been very, very little that I haven't gone on their Instagram and seen as soon as I open a bikini on a Sports Illustrated poster, or, like the cheerleader off of the football team, or, like, stuff like that, and it's like there's only so much I can say and do before I become controlling or crazy, or
Yeah, it's a weird line that you have to try not to cross. It's like I even feel weird. Like I'm not gonna judge people for doing it, but I do feel weird when I'm like looking in depth at someone's profile. I'm like, it's
it is
just
a little stalkery.
it makes me feel like I'm invading someone's private, even though it's out there in the
But it's
open.
public, exactly, like,
It still
how
makes me
much privacy
feel
do you have on a public platform?
and it feels very odd to me. That's why I actually put a lot of things like I separated certain things and I'm like, okay, this is what's going to be public and this is what's going to be in the private. So only a certain amount. And I like had to take people off my friends list because I was like, I don't want everything to be out there. I remember I had someone comment, and it was a family member, but it's a family member that I have talked to at the very least amount. Like I never talk to them, I never really see them, and they saw something and they commented, and I'm like, who the hell is that? And my mom even made a comment. They're like, "Who is that? What is that weird comment for?" And I was like, that's weird. You can't comment that. I know who it was after I found out. I read that, like, I talked to the person. I messaged them. I was like, "Did you leave that comment? Is that your Facebook?"
Yeah,
And
you
they're
didn't even
like, "Yeah, that was me. Isn't it funny?" I was like, "You look like a freaking creeper. Don't comment stuff." When I started the podcast, I said, "Hey, this is my podcast, but please don't comment on it because you don't know how to comment correctly.
It'd
You
be
look
some
like."
off the wall stuff.
It would be, like, it would be not gross, but it would be like, "What did you mean by that? Like, why would you write that?" People are gonna see that and think it's just, like, some weird, crazy stuff.
So, do you think modern women are less willing to put up with things nowadays, or do you think modern women are more willing to put up with things nowadays because there's so many more influences?
Yes and no. Like, I know women that won't, and they'll just end things so quickly, but then I feel like a lot of women I'm like, "Girl, how many baby daddies you got?
Oh my god, you're like,
Do you
"Wait,
have
you hold
standards?"
on, you just met him last week and you guys are in a relationship? That's weird.
That is weird, that's what I'm saying,
That's
though.
weird."
That's why I say I go back and forth, like, with the high divorce rate, but then, like, I also think because they'll just be really quick to cut it off, but then I feel like they jump into things without even being married. I'm like,
The newer
what is more of
generation?
a commitment than having a freaking baby? Like, you're with them for the you're with them for the rest of your life whether you want to or not.
What she said. No, but seriously, like, I think we are less willing to put up with stuff. Like you said, if my husband's coming and cheating on me, I'm not gonna put up with it because I don't need to rely on him for an allowance to pay my
Right.
dues through life. But I think we are a little too quick to jump to ending things or getting divorced or stuff like that
Yeah.
because of the instant gratification, the digital world, the porn being a click away, or the hot football player or football girl in skimpy little skirts.
It's just too easy.
It is. It's very easy.
Does it feel harder to make friends as an adult rather than back in the day or as a child?
I think back in the day, there was more sense of community that
Mm.
made it easier
Yeah.
to have adult friendships. You were going to visit like the yoga classes and all this stuff is still around, but it's not
Yeah, I do feel like that.
the moms in the neighborhood aren't meeting up for Sunday tea talking about everything that's happening in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
Um, I think it is extremely hard to make friends in the new generation just solely on the fact that people aren't authentic. It's like
I do. I
every
do think that, yeah.
yeah, everything's hidden behind the screen, the computer. People can say whatever they want. They can be keyboard warriors and
Yeah.
just type whatever they want and not like see the emotion on the person they're physically with. Like body language says a lot without even opening your mouth.
Honestly, I do feel that way because I feel like when I lost my best friend, I was 18 or 19. So, yeah, 2015. When I lost her, I was like, "Damn, this is gonna be so hard to, like, reconnect. I gotta start all over." It's like, don't get divorced. Oh god, that's gonna suck going back in the dating world, but, like, it was so tricky, and I was so worried, and when I was with my ex, I was like, I feel like I clung to him because there was nobody else to be there with because my other friend went to states away, and then my other best friend passed away, and I didn't know what to do. I
And
was terrified because it was already hard enough making friends in middle school and high school. High school, good luck. I made a couple friends and some of them stuck in high
yeah.
school. When I became friends with you, I was shocked.
Really?
Yeah. Well, one, I was awkward. I was super
Why would you
awkward.
say? Was I just like more like loud,
You
vibrant, outgoing, or
were
like
more
how
of the personality that I was suppressing is what I feel like.
in
As
yourself
in
or
myself.
in other people?
In myself.
Okay.
I feel like you have the personality that I was suppressing because that personality I feel like was brought out more when I was with her.
Yeah.
And I feel like my husband brought back my personality because when I was growing up. I was very depressed. When I was in high school, I was very depressed. I felt like I couldn't say anything without getting in trouble, or my mouth would get me into trouble all the time. And I feel like when I met you, I was like, I don't know if she's gonna stay my friend or like if I'm actually gonna. I got very nervous because I was like, am I actually gonna be like really close with you? I was really shocked about it and I was very scared, especially when we had little like tiffs or like we had our little falling out. I was very scared because it was like, holy crap, I can't go back. It's gonna tear me apart, you know?
Or even, like, that abandonment that I put you through was hard to am I gonna find a new friend? It's not easy finding friends as an adult, and it's
It was just a heartbreak. It was like having a it was I feel like I felt like we broke up.
stop, I know
No.
what that mean no, but I
No, I
know.
did. I felt like we broke up, and it was like it was really hard because like, finding friends now, that's really all it's hard, especially friends when you find, like, a certain amount of closeness, like, you could be married and you're so close, like,
Mm,
with my best friend, before she passed away, we could have, like, been soulmates, she was my person,
yeah.
and when I met you, I was like, "You're, like, the same person as my husband," and it's weird. But that's how I get along with you guys so well. I also, like, despise you guys sometimes, but,
Mhm,
like, in, like, the loving manner,
mhm.
and it's weird because like, it does scare you a lot, and it's especially I feel like I don't know how it is anymore from, like, when I was single. I feel like it was hard that way too, but, like, when you're a mom, I can relate to other moms that really struggle, like, you're with your kids so much, you're outside of a work environment, you don't see people in the social life, like, you don't go to bars or
You
whatever.
don't have those like-minded moms in the neighborhood staying at home all day to meet
Yeah.
up in the neighborhood and go
Yeah,
on a
it's
walk or
difficult.
have sourdough time or pie time or, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah.
I can imagine. I think it's easier to make friends as a single woman. I think the discipline with your lifestyle is a lot different, which allows different type of energies. And a lot of the time when you are making new friends, you're at that fun place, whether that's as a mom or a single person. Like you can make new friends going to a Thanksgiving party, right?
Yeah.
But you're still going out and being social. Whereas the married person doesn't have all that much free time like the single person does to go out and have fun and meet people,
Yeah.
you know? Like, there's different situations. The situations and parties that the parents are going to are the ones that have been planned on the Facebook, invite months in advance,
Yeah,
whereas,
you
like
can't just go somewhere on the fly anymore.
exactly, whereas, like, the single person's just like, "Okay, let's go to the bar or let's, go somewhere."
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I think that's a really good spot to
I do
end this.
too.
I think it was very interesting just to talk about the difference in generations, and, I think there is a lot to come forward with the newer generation. I think there's a reason that we do keep progressing, but personally, I would hope that we can bring back some of that elderly charm when it comes to, like, the mannerisms and just the chivalry in relationships and stuff like that, but I'm happy for, like
You can be open-minded and still be respectful.
yeah, I mean, you can mash it up, be
Yeah,
open-minded and respectful.
right. That is a good way to do it.
Yeah, but thank you everyone for listening to episode 5.
And also, please give us feedback, more topics to talk about, things you're interested in. We'd love to hear them. Whatever you can think of, whatever something you really find interesting, something you're like, nobody really talks about that. It's a taboo topic. We'll talk about it. We'll keep it a little PG-13 or whatever, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.